You know the logics, master every concept, but still don't know how to present it, how to express it, then this video is just for you. Now, this is the first segment of how to attempt theory paper. Right now, everyone who is at this point of time wants to know how to present the paper in best way possible, how to utilize this beneficial time in best way possible and attain the bestest of results. Okay, right, we all want to get the best of presentation skills, but we have to learn it step by step. Now let's move forward. Now most of the students around there have this problem that why is presentation skills so important. Now let me tell you one thing. Comment down below which biscuit packet will you choose. Now, if you would ask me, I will choose the first one. Why? Because the packaging looks very good. So, whatever the material is inside, the first impression is of packaging. Your expression of your presentation of your answer sheet is all dependent on your packaging. Okay, I don't know whatever the answer you're going to write, but if you are able to present it, package it well, then you can expect the examiner will be more interested in going through your answer sheet. Okay, now I have put off every particular segment into certain pieces. Okay, I have set up pieces point by point. I have set up certain points, and then these points will help you in your particular framework. Now, number one, usage of same framework. If your ICI material is being done in a paragraph form, your answer should also be in a para form. This is the very first important step. Always use the same framework. Next, it's in Roman numeral, then you are supposed to use your Roman numeral. Now, many of the students ask me if the basic framework used by ICI is Roman numeral, then can I use 1, 2, 3, 4? No, you can't use it. If it is in Roman numeral, your answer should be also in Roman numeral. If your if the study material answer is in 1, 2, 3, 4, you are supposed to write it in 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to use particular framework which is given to the ICI. Okay, given by the ICI study material. Now, next thing that I would recommend you to use certain flow charts and diagrams. Now, I am not asking you to use this kind of a flow chart. Flow chart, what I mean, whatever question you have can be converted into a diagram. Now, these diagrams are available in your ICI module. Along with the ICI module, certain diagrams are present over there. Even when in my books, every question has certain diagrams wherever it is possible. I've already created certain diagrams for the students because it's very difficult to make a diagram of your own. So for that matter, I've already created a diagram in every answer. Okay, in case you want to have a look at it, then you can go through you can download the mobile app, and certain modules are free of cost, and you can even download it. Okay, now how you can present, I'm just telling you one answer. Okay, here there's this question, what are the types of risk available in auditing? Now, types of risk are of three types: inherent risk, control risk, detection risk. So rather than writing it in a line, I would recommend you guys to first present it in the form of a visual diagram, and then what you can do, you can start up with your answer. So this is complementary. I am not asking you not to write it in normal language or normal form. I am just asking you to back up your answer with certain visuals. Now, if you would ask me, I am an examiner and I just had a glance through your visual. Now I know you know inherent risk, control risk, detection risk. At least you are aware of these terms. So I am automatically bound to give you at least 1 mark. This is the minimum. Like this you will get. Okay. Rest of the question may not be correct, but this you will get. Why you will get? Because the examiner is sure, has attained this particular thing in a mind that you are somewhere close to the answer. Now, you have to make this very sure that you have to gain the confidence of the examiner. Gain the confidence of the person who is taking your answer sheet. You have to make it very clear. For these particular things, these are required to be done. Next, I would recommend you to use technical language. This is very important. You can't leave it at any cost. For example, when you go for auditing, risk of material misstatement, or maybe reasonable assurance, consistency of audit evidence, audit materiality, these are certain technical language, these are certain jargons which are required to use. Now you can't expect to write an auditing paper without the usage of these jargon, without the usage of these technical language. Technical language plays a very important role. Now, what students do, the biggest blunder is that they will use the keyword, they will use the technical language, but they will not make it visible for the examiner to read it. Now, now you must be thinking, what am I trying to convey? Okay, see, there is this whole paragraph in which you have used the technical jargons, but since the examiner has very less time available to check the answer sheet. Now you want the person to read your technical jargon. You don't want these jargons to get vanished without being seen by the examiner. So what you should do, you should underline. You should always underline here. Now, since you are required to use only black pen, then underline it with the black pen. But always underline. You can't expect the person. Now, I want my examiner to get its attention towards the word disagree. Then I will underline it. Just thinking that you wrote it is not correct. This may not come under the parents. Okay? This may not come for the examiner to read it. All you guys have to do is underline the word. This will make it more easy. Okay. Next thing. Now, every type of question is divided into 2 types. Okay. So, either you have direct question. Every examination has just 2 types of questions. Either you will have direct question or you will have case study based question. Okay. Now, all the points which I discussed before are applicable to both the types of questions. Now, for the direct questions, you can use all those points, but for case study based questions, there are certain additional things that are required to be done. Now, what are these additional things? Now, number 1, attempt in paragraph form. Okay, use at least 2 to 3 paragraphs. Never use a case study based question. Always use 2 to 3 paragraphs. Never use the points in a case study based question. I'll tell you how to attempt it. It's going to be the best way, and you can use it in almost every exam. These are mainly restricted to ICSI exams, but you can use it in any exam. Okay. Now, always present your paper in paragraph form. Next thing, number 2, starter. Now, major students have this issue. Whatever the case study is, how should we write the case study? How should we present it? Or maybe like students are asking me again and again, how should we start it? You should every time start it with as per section, whatever the section is. Okay, 143, 141, whatever the section is. Okay, I'll tell you how to deal with the situation in case you don't remember the section. Okay, now first of all, as per section. Now here, the Companies Act. What I did, as per section 143 of the Companies Act 2013, see clearly how I'm using it, double quoted, and then I even used the year 2013. Now for the act, for every time quoting any act, you have to use the first letter, first alphabet of every letter in capital. The Companies Act. Okay, plus this is accompanied with the year. Now since I am more focused towards auditing, for auditing every time start with as per essay, whatever the essay is 200, double quoted, clear cut state the name of the standard, overall objectives of the independent auditor and the conduct of an audit in accordance with the standards of auditing. Okay, all those who aren't aware about auditing, they can leave this particular thing, but what I'm trying to say, if you write essay 200, you are supposed to write the whole name for the standard exactly. You can't do any, plus minus in it. You have to be correct in that. Again, issued by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Now every first alphabet in capital, and here you will start your answer. Now the next problem that major students face, what to do if I don't remember the standard, if I don't remember the section number. See, if you don't remember the section number, standard number, doesn't mean you won't get marks. Obviously, I make sure in my classes that every student 100% level remembers the standard which he or she is going to attempt in exam. Okay, right? But there are certain things that there are certain students who still can't remember. Then there is this simple formula. And you know the content, but you don't remember the exact section. What you have to do, still you will start your question with as per relevant section. Okay, you will use the word as per relevant section, because we don't remember the section, we won't quote the wrong section. In case the answer has section number 143 and you quote it wrongly as 141, then mind you, you will get 0 marks. Unless the examiner is way too good, you will get the 0 marks. You will get your marks reduced at any cost. You can't fight for it. But in case you remember the section, okay, relevant section of the Companies Act 2013, or if you don't remember the essay, then you have to write relevant essay issued by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. You have to state it. This is like mandatory. Okay. Now, once you have started with your whole thing, next thing, give introduction to essay section, use definitions. For example, if I am starting with essay 200, that I am supposed to write down overall objectives of an independent auditor. There are certain stuff, these are associated with essay 200. Okay, I am not discussing it in detail because it is not just linked to auditing, but you have to give an introduction of whatever standard, whatever section you are going to. I would recommend you to go for 20 to 30 words of starting. This may be linked to your case study, this may not be linked to your case study, but this should give an introduction, a bit introduction. But never ever use your own words in this. You have to read the particular definitions associated with it. Please do not change your language while going through this. This is very, very important. Okay. Next. Now, number 5. Explain the text. Remember, we have not started with the case study yet. Yes, we haven't started with the case study. We are only done with the section number, definition, and now we are starting with the text. Okay. Now, whatever things that I taught you, usage of same framework, technical language, underline important keyword, use flowchart diagram, you can use it in this particular area. Clear cut text. Okay. Once you're done with the plain text, okay, you have explained the whole section, you have explained the standard, you have explained the text for which you will be talking in your case study, which is linked to your case study, clear cut level. Okay, now the next step, you have to use these particular words in this present case study. Now you have to change the paragraph and you have to use the words in this present case study and copy paste all the contents already given in the question. What you have to do, just copy paste from the question. Okay, we are done with another paragraph. Now next paragraph. Now major students ask me, why am I supposed to write the whole paragraph when it is already given in the question? What is the need for it? See, we have to make a connection. So the first connection was your text. Next, in this present case study, in the next we are going to make the connection. Okay, for this connection I am required to write the copy paste of your question. Now next, we have to make an interrelation between the text we wrote and the case study question. There has to be certain interrelation. This paragraph, again 20 to 30 words, will create an interconnection, and this depends on your case study. Okay, you are not concluding, you are just creating a connection. Okay, generally this part is dealt in class as well. Okay, you can't expect me to create an interconnection as of now, but yeah, I do it for case study based question in my classes. Generally this is dealt in classes, so I can explain well on the YouTube at this point of time. Okay, so the next is your interconnection. Whatever, if you're talking about any section, if you're talking about any standard, then please create an interconnection. Now next thing is the conclusion, and this plays a very very important role. Okay, it should not be more than again 20 to 30 words. This should be your conclusion, and every time whenever you are about to write a conclusion, you have to write the word conclusion, underline it, and then colon, and then you have to write your conclusion. This will mark the end of your answer. Yes, this is how you are supposed to attempt any case study question. Now, this problem may arise when you know the whole text but you don't know how to write the conclusion, or you are not sure about the conclusion. Then what to do about it? Now my recommendation would be, you attempt the question in the series as I asked you to do. Okay, section number, text, whatever it is, just do it. Okay, in this present case study also write your interpretation, write your interconnection, whatever you want to do, but do not write the word conclusion.